YWCA Yakima held its 29th annual leadership luncheon today at the Yakima Convention Center, featuring author Stephanie Land, whose memoir Maid is a New York Times bestseller and the inspiration behind a new Netflix series of the same name.
Cap KV's Emily Goodell tells us the event is a fundraiser, but it also serves to raise awareness that domestic violence can happen to anyone.
My daughter didn't learn to walk on that homeless shelter floor because I had chosen to bring her into the world. She took those first steps on that dirty floor because I had just escaped an abusive relationship with only a couple $100, because my family had turned their backs on me or couldn't help us, and because I simply could not find work.
It's a story Stephanie Land shares in her memoir, Maid.
Even though my book is about the gritty work of struggling to survive, to me it has always been about a mother who wants what's best for her child.
Sela man Brian Harris says his daughter Emily wanted the same for her two kids, but she's no longer here to help them.
My daughter was murdered 100 yards from the police station. And I was in such a shock because we were the American family. We had a business, we had a family, they had grandkids, great lives, perfect from the outside looking in. We couldn't have a better life.
But it can happen to anyone.
Raise your hand if you or someone you know or someone you love has ever been affected or experienced trauma due to domestic violence.
That's in a room of 1,000 people. Multiply that by 3 to get the number of domestic violence cases reported to YPD in a year.
I know domestic violence, but nothing prepared me for Yakima.
Multiply by 14 to get the number of calls each year to YWCA Yakima.
Last year, the YWCA of Yakima housed 359 families in the 24-hour emergency shelter, but just as many families, unfortunately, turned away due to a lack of space.
The goal of the luncheon, to raise $200,000 to help them stay open and work toward building a new shelter.
I have heard these narratives constantly, being a single mom who writes about being on food stamps and then decides to publish those things on the internet. But what these people are really saying is, well, I didn't make the bad choices that you made. I made good choices, so I don't even have to worry about being like you. Even though it's not about the ability to make good choices, it's about having good choices in the first place.
In Yakima, Emily Goodell, Cap KVU, local news.
The YWCA is hoping to raise $200,000 at that event to help with operations and a project to more than double its emergency shelter capacity.